Swrmers, welcome back. Installment number 3 of our exploration into all things single-use beverage containers. Oh, you missed part 1 and 2? No worries, we'll link to those below. All right, coffee lovers, this one is for you, and it is dear to my heart. I haven't yet figured out a way to function without caffeine on the daily. And I'm not alone, with about 1 billion of us on the planet enjoying the beverage. That's about 12.6% of the global population. In America, 73% of the population take a cup of joe each day, while in Australia it's slightly higher at 75%. And 28% of Aussies have 3 or more cups per day. But we're here to talk about the vessel. For the vast majority of people, that's the single-use disposable coffee cup. Whether it's your morning brain starter or an afternoon pick-me-up, these cups are a huge part of many people's daily routines. But have you ever stopped to think about their environmental impact? We're going to break it down. Let's be upfront though and say from the outset that sitting and sipping in a cafe in a ceramic or glass cup is absolutely the best way to reduce your environmental impact around the vessel for coffee. Single-use cups are usually made from paper with a plastic lining. The paper in these cups comes from trees, and producing it requires a lot of water and energy. Deforestation for paper production is a significant environmental issue, leading to habitat loss and increased carbon emissions, as fewer trees are left to absorb CO2. It takes about 20 million trees annually to produce the 50 billion coffee cups used just in the US alone each year. The plastic lining, usually made from polyethylene, is necessary to prevent the cup from leaking. This plastic is derived from petroleum, just like plastic bottles, bringing with it the same extraction and refinement issues, oil spills, habitat destruction, and significant carbon emissions. The plastic lining makes up only about 5% of the cup, but causes 100% of the recycling difficulties. What about the lids? Well, in theory, they're recyclable. In practice, it depends on the exact type of plastic and your location. So check the number in the triangle on the lid, called the Plastics Identification or Resin Code, and then look at your local municipality. A quick reminder here, that triangle doesn't mean recyclable. It's purely to denote which type of plastic the product is made of. The recyclable triangle is different. Creating a single-use coffee cup involves several steps, each with its environmental toll. Turning trees into paper is energy intensive. It involves pulping the wood, which requires large amounts of water and electricity. The pulp is then processed and formed into paper, which is shaped into cups. Each cup requires about 0.58 megajoules of energy to produce, and the manufacturing process releases significant CO2 emissions. The plastic lining is then applied to the paper cup, adding another layer of energy consumption and emissions. This step also complicates recycling, as the plastic needs to be separated from the paper, which isn't always feasible with standard recycling processes in normal recycling facilities. Transporting coffee cups is similar to other single-use containers. They need to be shipped from factories to distribution centres and finally to your local cafe. Each step involves transportation that usually burns fossil fuels and emits CO2, adding to the overall carbon footprint of your daily cup of coffee. We've touched on it briefly, but let's dive more into what happens after you've enjoyed your cup of coffee. Most single-use coffee cups end up in landfills. The plastic lining makes them difficult, if not impossible, to recycle, as most recycling facilities are not equipped to separate the materials. As a result, these cups can take decades to break down, releasing harmful chemicals into the environment. In the US alone, an estimated 50 billion coffee cups are thrown away every year, contributing significantly to landfill waste. In some cases, coffee cups are incinerated, which can release toxic fumes and contribute to air pollution. This method of disposal also generates carbon emissions, further impacting the environment. The incineration process releases about 0.45 kilos of CO2 per cup. But even worse than all this is that currently, the US produces approximately 3 million tonnes of polystyrene annually, including around 25 billion disposable cups every year. This waste occupies about a third of landfill space. As garbage, polystyrene takes about 500 years to decompose. The production of a single polystyrene foam cup, formerly often called styrofoam, results in roughly 33 grams of CO2 emissions. While this might seem minimal, the cumulative effect of the annual polystyrene production in the US amounts to about 21 million tonnes of CO2. That's equivalent to the emissions from 4.5 million cars every year. And then there's the toxicity.
And styrofoam never dies for as long as you live.
As it degrades, polystyrene foam can leach chemicals into the environment, which also happens if it contains a hot beverage like coffee. Polystyrene is made from carcinogens such as benzene and styrene. This personal and environmental impact has led to some cities and states from Maine to Los Angeles to ban polystyrene foam. And thankfully, across the states, more and more restaurants and stores are now avoiding the use of polystyrene packaging for hot beverages. What about the relative new kids on the block, the compostable or biodegradable cups? Well, first things first, these two terms are often used interchangeably, but they don't mean the same thing. Biodegradable is a term mainly used in reference to plastics and means that those plastics break down in nature. They may still contain petroleum, they may be plant-based, they may still leave toxic waste behind when they break down. They will take much longer to break down than something compostable, which, on the other hand, means that they are made with organic elements or plants. For example, cornstarch, bagasse, P-Val or PVOH, which both refer to polyvinyl alcohol and is a water-soluble synthetic polymer. Then there's mushroom, seaweed, banana leaf, and others. When compostable products degrade, they produce humus, which is the most important part of all soils. Compostable products don't leave any toxic element in the environment after degrading. So, back to the cups. The sad fact is that even when cups are labelled compostable, it usually doesn't happen and they end up in landfill. And while you think that maybe that's fine as they're compostable anyway, unfortunately that's not even the case. For something to compost, it requires oxygen, and there is a distinct lack of that in a landfill. So putting anything compostable into landfill completely negates the fact that it is compostable, and it will simply add to the methane and carbon emissions emanating from the landfill. So how can composting a coffee cup happen then? Well, for the most part, only in industrial or commercial facilities, not your home compost. That's because the other thing needed is heat, extreme heat, which you can't replicate in your home system. So you'll need to do some looking, starting with your local municipality's website to try to find your local commercial composting facility. Oh, and the vast majority of industrial or commercial composting facilities actually refuse to take products which include compostable plastics. Is your mind blown? Are you feeling deflated and like you need another coffee? This compostable, biodegradable, bioplastic thing is a huge topic, and we'll explore it in more depth in another video. Right now, we just need a solution for my fellow caffeine addicts. And thankfully, that is super simple. Investing in a reusable coffee cup is one of the best and easiest things you can do. These cups come in various materials like stainless steel, glass, or a thick, durable plastic, and can be used literally countless times for many, many years. Be aware that it is best to avoid bamboo cups, and in the spirit of time, suffice to say that they are not made of only bamboo, and the other stuff is best not ingested. Are you still on the fence about what some see as an inconvenience of taking your own cup out and about? Well, some coffee shops offer discounts for bringing your own cup, so you save money while helping the planet. And on that note, if you use your reusable coffee cup 365 times a year versus a disposable cup every day, you can save about 9 kilos of CO2 emissions. Another nice way to save environmental footprint is to drink in. And in that case, always opt for in-store mugs instead of disposable cups. Single-use coffee cups might seem harmless, but their environmental impact is significant. From deforestation and energy consumption to disposal issues, these cups contribute to a host of environmental problems. By switching to reusable coffee cups, you could genuinely make a meaningful difference. We hope that you have found this interesting, Swrmers. We know that this information isn't widely known or talked about, and that's what this channel is all about. Increasing knowledge and understanding in order for us to all make better decisions. We do so passionately, but without judgment. We're not all starting from the same base of understanding, but we implore you, now that you have this information, please act with it in mind. Next time you're about to grab a takeout coffee, think about the journey of that cup you're about to get handed, and instead consider sitting in. Then get yourself a nice reusable cup for future takeouts. Small changes really do add up, and together we can create a greener world. Thanks for joining us, Swrmers. You're the reason that we do what we do, so it means a lot to us that you're here with us on this journey to a more sustainable you. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay sustainable.